And welcome back, everybody. You know, a lot of people have found themselves feeling anxious in the midst of this pandemic. So we want to give you some ways to cope and deal with anxiety during all of this. Joining me now live from her home this morning is Dr. Argie Allen-Wilson, a relationship therapist and also the author of Courageous Conversations Connect. And she has her own practice in the Winfield section of Philadelphia. Doctor, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Janelle. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And as we mentioned, a lot of people just dealing with anxiety during all of this. What are your suggestions for them?
Yeah, well, you know, we're anxious anyway, right? This has kind of put our anxiety on fleek, quite frankly, because we're stuck in the home. We're all working from home with our children. And so some of the things that we need to remember is that this is temporary. This is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain. And as long as we stay healthy, Janelle, then everything else is recoverable. But we also have to remember that we need to create a schedule for ourselves. This is not vacation. This is kind of business as usual, just at home. So create a schedule for yourself, recognizing that once we create that schedule, we can move into a different place with regards to what we're going to do within our family system. I also say, like, for many people, we are grieving the loss of the life that we once knew 3 weeks ago. Right? And so we got to accept our new norm. Once we accept the new norm, then we can adjust, reset our mindset, make some tweaks, and start adapting to that new norm so that we can start appreciating the progress that we've made. So those things are things that we need to do to decrease our anxiety. And of course, we've got to talk about what's going on or even write about it. You know, journaling is really good, mindfulness, meditation, some movement, and then meaningful engagement. I don't know if you've seen people get online and do with D Nice, where some people are having online parties, if you will, listening to music. There is a way to connect. We just need to continue to be have social distance, but that doesn't mean social isolation.
And speaking of that, a lot of people, as you mentioned, working from home, the kids are home, there may be other relatives, your spouse at home. How do you suggest people deal with all of these personalities at home for the majority of the day? It's a lot for some to handle.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is most of us don't spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with our families. We're actually spending that time with our coworkers or our colleagues 8 to 10 hours a day. Then we come home and then we spend maybe a couple of hours, eat, go to sleep, and do it all over again. And so now that we're thrusting this together, I'm telling people, have the courageous conversation. Sit down with your kids. First of all, they're anxious because they're going to be tapping into your anxiety. So sit down with them and let them know first that you're going to protect them, that you're going to have a plan for them, that you're going to provide for them. Because kids need predictability, they need safety, and they need consistency. If they have those things, then that's going to make them feel secure and safe, right? That helps them to feel more confident. Then you say, we're going to have a plan. We're going to have our free time, but we're going to have our work time. And then have everyone find a different place in the house that they feel comfortable with to get their work done, and then reconvene. I'm saying have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner together, have your free time, go for a walk, but then come back and get your work done and get your rest. Your bedtime is very, very important. Again, this is not vacation. This is work. We're just working from home because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And if your kids are frightened or anxious, allow them to know that you've got an open door for them to process what's happening. But do not use your children as your peer or your sounding board. You need to have an accountability partner, maybe a friend, maybe your parent, your sibling, to process your anxiety so that you don't sort of get tapped into your children's anxiety.
That's a good point there. But the flip side of that is there are also people who live alone, and this can be very isolating for them. Tips for them?
Yeah, for the people that live alone, recognize that, again, social distancing does not mean social isolation. We have this technology now. Many people felt very anxious about the technology, but goodness gracious, what would we do without it right now? So allowing people to know if they're home alone, that they can tap into their friends or their family, they can take a walk. If they are have a car or they're mobile, then they can reach out to somebody else, maybe go to a senior person. And by the way, this is a time now that we have where we are still more still than ever before. So pick up a habit, do some reading, write a book, start your business. This is a time where you can find ways to, actually I had a client who said that she was going to write a song with her boyfriend because they're not going on prom this year. So there's a creative way for many of us find ways to connect. Again, social distancing, does not mean social isolation.
Absolutely. Dr. Argie Allen-Wilson, thank you so much. Some great advice, and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Oh, you too, dear. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks. Jim, we're going to send it back over to you.
Thank you, Janelle.